Welcome back to day number 6 in Orchos Tzadikim. We're continuing on page 31. Now the author says, "L'chein yesh lahodia lakol." We have to inform everybody. Ki kol ish harotz lahavi nafshu l'dei midas tovos. To anybody who wants to attain a perfection of their positive traits, tzarich la'orev Yiras Shomayim kol mido midah. He must instill Yiras Shomayim. He has to infuse every single trait with Yiras Shomayim, with fear of heaven. Ki Yiras Shomayim hi hakesher shehu machzik kol hamidos. Because Yiras Shomayim, fear of heaven, is the glue that holds it all together. V'doma l'chut sheichnisu toch chori hamargolios v'kosher kesher betachtiso lahachzik kol hamargolios. It's like the clasp of a pearl necklace. The pearls are all beautiful. But if you don't have that clasp that holds all of them together with the string, it's not going to hold them all together. Ein sofek ki bihi nosek hakesher yiplu kol hamargolios. If you release that clasp, all of the pearls are going to, all the precious gems, they're all going to disappear. They're going to fall on the floor and not be a beautiful piece of jewelry. Kach hayira. So too is fear of heaven. It holds it all together. It holds all of our traits together. He mechazekes kol hamidos. It strengthens all of our traits. V'im tatir mimcha kesher hayira. And if we release that band of fear of heaven, yibadlu mimcha kol hamidos atovos. All of the positive traits are going to disappear from you. V'kishe'ein biyodcha midos tovos. And when you don't have the positive traits, ein biyodcha Torah, then you don't have any Torah. And mitzvos, and you don't have mitzvos, you don't have the study of Torah properly, and you don't have the observance of mitzvos properly. Kikol haTorah tluim b'tikkun hamidus, because all of our acquiring of Torah is dependent on our perfection of our traits. Kol hamidos, tovos v'ros, all of our traits, positive and negative traits. Hachacham yochol lasos haraos l'tovos. The wise person can flip the negative traits into positive traits. The axil and the silly person, yasamidos tovos l'ros, can flip the positive traits into negative traits. Mi sheholech b'choshech, someone who goes in the darkness, ve'enim izbonim b'tikkun hamidos, meaning darkness of life, not darkness in that it's evening, but rather doesn't understand that he needs to perfect his traits. Efsher shetia bo mida achas hame'abedes kol zchuyosov. He can have one negative trait that ruins all of his positive traits. One trait takes him down. Kigon, for example, hamizgo is someone who is arrogant. B'ma'asov, he's arrogant about his accomplishments. He's arrogant about his talents and his skills. Umispor umiyape atzmo, and he takes pride in his accomplishments, not realizing that everything, with the proper Yiras Shomayim, with the proper fear of heaven, that everything comes from Hashem. V'kol kavanosel hizgadol lihishtor al bnei adam. His whole purpose, I am so great, I am so talented, so I can be elevated above other people. Not so that I should realize I have a responsibility from heaven where the Almighty has tasked me to accomplish certain greatness. And not only that, he always talks down about others, and he feels elevated by knocking others down. It's like someone who fills up his big vat, this big vessel of fine, expensive wine. And he has on the bottom a little hole in the bottom of the barrel. Although it's a very small hole in the bottom of the barrel, but all of his fine wine is going to get wasted and lost from that little hole. Im lo yistom osa hanekev, if he does not close that little, he doesn't plug that little hole, he's going to lose all of his valuable wine. This arrogant person doesn't realize that although it's a very small hole, he has on such a great, valuable character. All of his wonderful traits are so magnificent, but that little hole at the bottom of his vessel is going to allow for all of the positive to get wasted. Af al pi shuhu moli Torah. Even though this vessel, this person is filled with Torah, ya'abid hakol, he will lose everything. Al yidei amida ara zos. This negative trait will cause him to lose all of his virtues, all of his qualities. If he's not cautious and not careful to correct it. There are very few, sadly, in this world who know this truth. There are those who aren't wise enough to understand. Some are not wise enough to recognize, but just as one whose legs are amputated cannot climb a ladder, he can't climb a ladder. Someone who doesn't have proper wisdom will never be able to climb the ladder of perfection of traits. There are those who are wise and they have great wisdom and they have great intellect and understanding. But sadly, he gets drowned in the desires and temptations and the urges of this world. Instead of putting his brilliance to accomplishing greatness in his personal character, he puts his brilliance into accomplishing and attaining physical, materialistic pleasures and desires. And he just goes after his negative temptations and negative desires, his negative inclinations, and falls to it completely. Ki hargal min urav b'masav haroim ad shehem kvuim b'nafsho. And he just keeps on running after his desires and his urges, just like he did when he was a child. He got into the habit of running after his impulse from childhood, and now he just continues doing it. And it's very hard for him to suddenly stop. Suddenly his neighbors are going to say, "Oh, you became all righteous. You became religious. Now you started becoming a God-fearing person. Come on, we remember what you did from your childhood. We remember what you were about back then. Now suddenly you think you're holier than us." And this can cause a person to not focus properly on what's really important. There are others who understand the right way. They even want to attain the proper path. But he left out being involved with the righteous, with the wise, and didn't get their guidance. And instead, he goes in darkness. He goes on his own and doesn't understand that there's a path, there's a method to attaining our greatness and reaching our closeness with the Almighty through our perfection of traits. It's like someone who has a treasure, a gem, a very precious gem in their home, but they don't even realize that they have this gem. So they sell the house without taking that gem, that precious gem that could have been worth more than all of the house itself. We are such incredible creations of Hashem. We represent the Almighty in this world. We have unbelievable power, unbelievable abilities. We can do it. We can really be great representatives of the Almighty in this world. We have to understand our greatness. We have to understand our capabilities and not sell ourselves short. Our greatness is compared to the greatest gems on earth. We shouldn't just sell ourselves to the quickest impulse, to the quickest materialistic desire and urge that comes our way. We should understand that we have greatness within us and nurture that greatness. Invest in our fear of heaven. Invest in having a proper master, a teacher, a rebbe that can guide us in the right path. And God willing, with that, we'll be able to attain our greatness.